Local programming on KRWG Public Media made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you.
This is KRWG Public Media, TV, radio, online. News that matters. Now, across the Mesilla Valley and the borderland, the stories that shape our community. From the KRWG Broadcast Center at New Mexico State University, this is Newsmakers.
Thanks for joining us on this special edition of Newsmakers. I'm Fred Martino. The pandemic temporarily ended naturalization ceremonies, but right before that happened, we were at the Las Cruces Convention Center for some of the final events, welcoming hundreds of new American citizens from across the globe, including Rosie Miyagishima, the wife of Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima.
Well, this is a formal session of court of the United States District Court. And on behalf of myself and all the district judges and all the judges on the court of the District of New Mexico, I welcome you this morning. And it's maybe a little early, but I am going to congratulate you for being here and the steps that you have taken to become citizens of the United States. You know, as judges on the court, so many things that we have to do as judges are not always happy. But this is a different kind of ceremony. It is a happy day because we are here to help you celebrate this very, very important day for you and your friends and your family as you become citizens of the United States. I want to recognize our mayor of the city of Las Cruces. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. I am told that Mrs. Miyagishima is here this morning also to be naturalized citizen. So good morning to you, ma'am.
My name is Rosario Miyagishima, Rosie, and I came from Mexico, Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua. I was born in Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua.
What made you come to the U.S. and how did you end up in Las Cruces?
Okay, I come in because my kids, that way they can be in schools I came to El Paso, and they studied there, and I was in El Paso, I was living in El Paso for 12 years. Yes. What was the other question?
How did you come to Las Cruces?
Oh, because I married the mayor of Las Cruces. We met in 2012, September 2012, in the Mexican consulate in El Paso. The process was, in my case, took 3 years because my husband is American citizen, but for all the people is 5 years.
I have to tell you that I never realized how difficult it is to become a United States citizen, how much paperwork there is involved, and why attorneys specialize in immigration law. You're becoming a citizen of the greatest country in the world, and there's some other countries around the world that don't particularly like us, and they want to make sure that when you're coming here, you are a citizen of this country, and you will defend and if needed, you do what needs to do to protect liberty and justice. So, but I never realized how much there is.
You all have traveled very different paths. Some people become citizens because they're born here. Some people are United States citizens because they're naturalized. Well, one of the hallmarks of the United States citizenship is that it doesn't matter how you become a United States citizen, the law of the United States makes no distinction.
Virginia Beckworth. I am a resident of New Mexico for 3 years. I actually became a voter registration agent about 1.5 years ago. This is my 4th naturalization ceremony to come and register voters. I started about 1 year ago coming out here, so I've hit every one but one in the last year.
What's your experience with the people who come up to you to register?
It's been fabulous, just absolutely fabulous. The first time I came, I cried. I have met wonderful people that I might not ever have met in my normal life. I think my favorite story is that the last time I was here, I registered a 91-year-old man who spoke no English, and I don't speak Spanish. But I worked with him, we got him registered, I got a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and that was, it's just thrilling to know that they're new citizens and they're registering to vote, and that's what's so important.
My name is Stanislav Yeromin. Stas for short. I came immigrating from Ukraine. I am a mechanic, certified mechanic, and certified parts advisor and service advisor.
In Las Cruces?
In Silver City. I came to United States in 2007. My mom is the one that brought me here. First of all, it's better living here than there. I still miss my family, but there's a brighter future here.
You have come with different cultures. You have different beliefs. You might have different languages, but while no citizen is above the law, every citizen is equal under the law. And don't let anybody try to persuade you otherwise.
My name is Josie Wolf, and I'm from the Philippines. It's been like 3 years ago, and I was a naturalized citizen. I came from the Philippines. I'm here again because I am a citizen, and I'm here to support my friend. She do the process to become a citizen legally. Of course, I'm here to support her.
I'm Rodelia English Nichols. I came from the Philippines. I was married the first time, and he's a Filipino, but he's an American citizen. But that marriage is a very, very bad marriage for me. So I feel sad and I feel bad at that time. But I never give up. My mother told me, no, don't give up. Maybe this person is not meant for you. So maybe you can find a man who can bring you for eternity. So I was pray to our Heavenly Father, and God answers my prayers. So I met a man, his name is Lee Nichols, and he's the one who brought me here in America.
Doing the process, it's kind of hard. It takes a lot of, so you have to study about the history of the America, politics, about what's America all about. And it's different from where I came from in the Philippines. Here in America, you have freedom, equal rights, and you got a lot of opportunity.
You are guaranteed equal protection under the law. Along with that guarantee, ladies and gentlemen, our newest citizen, you are blessed with certain rights. But in just the same way, you have responsibilities as citizens, and you've sworn to accept those responsibilities.
David Fierro, and from Mexico. Because of my parents, my dad was originally a USA citizen. He brought me when I was 12 years old. That was in 1986. The challenge was just the language barrier at first, but after that, after middle school, high school, everything, I married somebody from here, so everything has been going well since then. I work at a dealership, Peterbilt dealership trucks, but I'm also a pastor. I'm a pastor of the Pentecostals of Las Cruces. It's a United Pentecostal Church.
Your Honor, today we have 141 applicants for naturalization, representing these 19 countries. When I call your country's name, please stand and remain standing. Canada, China, Colombia, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Egypt, Germany, Guatemala, India, Japan, Jordan, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Panama, Philippines, South Korea, Thailand, Ukraine, Mexico,
if you can just see what I can see from here, and what a beautiful sight it is to see each of you while Ms. Goth sings this song. It's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful day.
And so, what are your plans now that you're a citizen? What does it mean to you to finally be an American citizen? That's my question.
So happy. It's great. Now I can vote. Like these past elections with my husband, I was like sad because I didn't vote, but now I'm happy. I'm happy because now I can vote. I can express my thinking.
Oh, it's incredible. You know, United States is the greatest country in the world, and to be a citizen of the United States is for a lot of people a dream. And this is obviously was one of her big dreams coming true as well, and mine.
Being able to vote is very important, and I'll do my best to participate. It means a lot to me. It's very uplifting. It's finally be able to breathe and be a part of this country. Very uplifting.
For me, it means a lot, and I'm so happy that God given me this wonderful opportunity to become a U.S. citizenship.
So, how do you feel seeing your friend being naturalized today? What does it mean to you?
It means a lot, and I'm proud for her, and I'm so happy for her.
It feels kind of a relief, you know. I've been here for 30 years, and you know, some of my family have already become citizens, and some have not. But to me, it's just relief. I'm glad. I'm happy about it. I'm excited about it.
Well, they have done a lot to reach the point of being naturalized citizens. They put in all the effort, they've done all the work, they've become citizens, and it is so important for them. After everything they've done, voting is something that is just, should be at the top of their mind.
Our system depends on it. And this way, as citizens, you are the boss. And it brings to mind a phrase by the late United States Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis. And I think it's appropriate at this event and at any time. And speaking of your role and your position of authority, he said, and I've modified it somewhat slightly, he said the only title in our democracy that's superior to that of judge, senator, congressional representative, or even president. The one title that is superior is the title of citizen. And that's the title that you now hold. Congratulations to each one of you, and to your family and your friends who are also here to help you celebrate. But before you sit down, please join me in congratulating all of our new United States citizens. Please be seated.
My guest this week is Johana Bencomo. You may know her as a Las Cruces City Councilor, but today we're going to talk about her role as Executive Director of CAFé, the influential nonprofit based in Las Cruces that organized the petition drive for the city's minimum wage law. Johana, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Fred. I'm always happy to join you.
It's great to have you here today. And, you know, I want to start our discussion today with a priority, I know, for NM CAFé, and that is immigrant rights. We start 2021 after 4 years of enormous stress on our immigrant community. Tell me about your hopes for the Biden administration on the issue of immigration.
That's a great first question, Fred. This issue to me is a personal one. This is the reason I came on board with CAFé almost 7 years ago, honestly. And yeah, like you said, the last 4 years have been quite traumatizing for immigrants, for undocumented families across the country. And more specifically, though, for immigrants in border communities like ours. And so a lot of our work at CAFé the last 4 years has felt really reactive. It has felt like we've been putting fires here and there with DACA and sanctuary and the refugee crisis that we had last year. And with this new administration, President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris are no strangers to this issue. And so I'm really hoping to have a couple allies in the White House that can push forth some true and real and just immigration reform that can really get our undocumented, the 11 million undocumented Americans that we have in this country, a pathway to citizenship. And so families can finally feel protected and feel at home, because this is their home.
And I know that this is a personal story for you as well, because you have your own immigration story.
I do, Fred. I myself am an immigrant. I'm originally from Chihuahua, Mexico, from a tiny, tiny town. I mean tiny little village called Colonia Aldama. Maybe there was like 75 people there when I was growing up. I think there's like 10 little viejitos left there now. But I left with my family when I was 8 years old. It was my young parents, my 8-month-old brother, and we came to this country. We left on February 14th of 1996. And my dad was the only one with legal status at that point. He'd been in the United States the last time we saw a pathway to citizenship and had his green card. My mom, my brother, and I, though, we came with 3-month visas that we overstayed, like 2/3 of undocumented immigrants living here now. And after that visa was expired, we were undocumented. And I was undocumented for about 8 years. It wasn't until my dad was able to pass his citizenship test. I was 16, and so, because I was underage, I didn't have to go through that whole process like he did, like taking the test and all of that, but I was naturalized when I was 16 years old.
Such an important thing to talk about, and I know so many people will be inspired to hear your story, and I know that's important to you too, to be able to share that story with people so they understand and they see the importance of immigration reform.
Absolutely, Fred. So much of what I love about CAFé and community organizing is that we take our stories of pain and struggle and turn them into something beautiful and turn them into stories of power and the reason we want and we're asking for change. So much of, I think, what's happened around immigration reform has been really fear-based. And so the more of us that share our stories and our experiences and help people to empathize and to understand, I think the better, ultimately, the better world we'll create and the better policy that we will create.
Well, I know in addition to immigrant rights that CAFé also works on other quality of life issues. Best known, of course, for the minimum wage law in Las Cruces. Now, as a state, we are also focusing on paid sick leave. The former director at CAFé, State Representative Angelica Rubio, as you know, is introducing legislation to address this issue at the state level.
That's right. This is a huge, huge moment for workers in New Mexico. As we know, the United States has pretty terrible paid sick laws, and workers are really at the bottom often. This pandemic has proved over and over that essential workers in New Mexico are really what make this economy run, and it's time that we give them protections. And it starts with minimum wage, of course, and we've had that fight in Las Cruces for a long time. The statewide minimum wage just increased in January 1st as well, so and will continue to until it is $12 an hour. But we really believe in this legislation. Of course, our fearless representative Angelica Rubio is running with it, and I'm very proud to know her. I'm very proud that we come from the same background in community organizing. She understands that people who are directly impacted by oppressive policies should be at the center of decision making. And for us, it's been really important that we have been organizing with workers who are demanding that this be something that New Mexico finally gives them. The stories that I hear over and over from workers is that out of all the legislation we worked on, this to me feels like the most exciting for workers, because it feels like it will have a pretty significant impact on their day-to-day lives.
Of course, we don't know yet where this will go in the state legislature, and as you know, communities all over the country are tackling this when their states do not, including Albuquerque, which has been looking at a law. If this is somehow not approved at the state level, do you think it should be looked at the local level, much as the minimum wage was, and then that led to a state law?
Fred, I'm actually very excited and confident that we will see a form of paid sick leave come out of the 2021 state legislature. I don't know if it's going to look like the bill that we're presenting, which is actually modeled after the Colorado legislation that was just passed by voters in Colorado. Our sister state in Arizona has something similar. So I'm very confident that this will be the year that the state says, yes, workers' lives and their public health matters. And I think we will see something. So I'm going to stick to that mentality. And we're doing our due diligence. The coalition that we've created across the state is broad and powerful, and we are doing our work to ensure that we're talking to legislators before they head to virtual Santa Fe next week. But we've been doing a lot of the work, and it feels right now like there's a ton of support and momentum for paid sick leave to be a reality.
Okay. At the top of your website, you have a link that says, "Together we vote." Tell me how you see voter action becoming more and more important in community organizing.
Yes, absolutely. Civic engagement, voter engagement is frankly the core of our work, I would say. It's really what drives so much of what we do. We are engaged in every election we can be, from municipal to county to state to federal, in a nonpartisan manner. We talk to any person who is willing to talk to us, obviously asking them if they're registered to vote. If they're not, helping them. We have voter registration agents on staff. But really, most importantly, we are doing a lot of voter education, really encouraging people to vote, not just for a person, but for your values. Go to that ballot box, vote your values, think about your community, vote because you love your community and you want to see change. It will never be about an elected official, a single one. It'll be about our community and the amount of work that we're putting into it to make it better, and the accountability work that comes after elections, that truly that's the work that we're doing. And so we do believe we ran the largest civic engagement campaign this last year in 2020 in partnership with our C4 sister organization, CAFé Acción. We ended up engaging 120,000 voters across southern New Mexico.
And it's so exciting to talk about this right now because, as you know, it was overshadowed by the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. But a real example of the power of this just happened in Georgia, where Democrats had failed in statewide elections for decades, but this year won both Senate seats, and Joe Biden was chosen as president. I don't think people who are not familiar with Georgia, not familiar with the South, realize the incredible accomplishment this was.
You know, Fred, I was off for a couple weeks from CAFé, and I came back to work last Wednesday. And I woke up and I was feeling really inspired by the work that organizations much like ours have been doing in Georgia for years. And that really showed, and it wasn't even about who won those elections, it was about who turned out to vote in those elections. It was predominantly Black voters, some of them voting for the first time. It was Latino voters, it was Asian voters. It was such a beautiful and broad coalition of people of color who turned out and said, this year we will participate in these elections. Do not count us out. And to me, as the executive director of this organization, that's what matters, and that's what gives me hope and inspires me to do the work that we're doing, even though later that same day, some pretty traumatic and awful things happened in our country. And so I'm holding on to the thing that gives me hope and optimism, and that communities of color really are building power to bring change that we very much deserve.
And a good way to end our conversation today, we only have about a minute left, but give me a sense in a nutshell, a quick nutshell, of what it will take to get more young people, more minorities to get out there and vote, and also get involved in organizations like yours, like CAFé.
It will take a lot of organizing. And honestly, Fred, at the end of the day, this is about relationship building. It'll take resources so that we can have powerful and transformative conversations with people about why they're feeling powerless. At the end of the day, what I see when someone isn't turning out to vote or participating is because they feel a sense of powerlessness. And by us being able to share stories like I just did and engage people in that work, I think that we can really transform New Mexico politics.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Johana Bencomo. She is the executive director of NM CAFé. Thank you. That's our time for now. Join us this week on KRWG Radio. Every weekday, it's morning edition 5 to 9, fresh air at 11, followed by Here and Now, noon to 2, and All Things Considered, 4 to 7. KRWG News is always online at krwg.org, and we'd love to hear from you. Email us with your story ideas and video submissions. The address is feedback@nmsu.edu. For all of us at KRWG News, I'm Fred Martino. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on Newsmakers.